The weekly message of the United Church of Christ of Hummelstown, Pennsylvania, a podcast version of our worship service. To learn more and listen to the rest of the worship, check us out online at hummelstownucc.org.
In planning for this week's worship, I knew quite well the theme of the Sunday would be our covenant as an open and affirming congregation, a chance to highlight our connections and our support of the LGBTQIA+ community. And coming on the heels of last night's successful bingo night, it would be a wonderful day to celebrate. And certainly Jim has helped to invite us into that celebration with the swag, the decor, the musical choice before service. And even in all of that, there is to be celebrated. This text has been calling to me. Immediately, I've been drawn to it as a story of the queer community, as a story of the ally community, as a story of what it is to feel your difference as a part of your being, rejected, thirsting for the compassion of others. The story of Hagar and Ishmael is a critical one in understanding the God who suffers at our sides, who makes their home among the whole of community, not just the privileged ones or the loudest speakers. Our God has compassion on those sent away as much as on those who maintain their positions in life. And I think this week I am needing to hear that kind of overwhelming love presence as a part of our O&A work, as part of our commitment that we make to community, to walk and journey and open this door to more than those who think and look like us, but to all of God's good creation waiting to be heard. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. John 15:12. Recognizing there are those who have known the pain of discrimination in the church and society, we invite everyone to experience God's love here. The United Church of Christ of Hummelstown affirms all persons are created in the image of God, and so welcome the full inclusion of all people in the communion, life, and ministries of this community of faith seekers. We celebrate and embrace diversity of faith journey, economic status, sexual orientation, gender identity, race, national origin, age, relationship status, physical or mental ability, and political affiliation. We proclaim this statement of inclusion. No matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. This is our statement, and it begins with this quote from the Gospel of John. And as I hear those words this week, I am remarking on the love shown to Hagar in this moment of desperate need, a need brought on her by the loved one of the one who pushes her out. There is so much pain here in this twisted version of love. It gives pause to talk about love in this context. If we believe in a God that is inherently love and compassion, the God who opens Hagar's eyes, we also look at a God who tells Abraham that it's okay that she suffers. It must be a better vision of love than what is offered to her by her human companions. Love each other as I have loved you. And in this case, love each other better than the love that has been offered to you. We can do better than a full water skin and a pat on the back. Yes, we can trust that God will do good things through those outcast as well. But if we're going to live into our sacred calling of sharing love as we have been loved, we need to ensure that those pushed to the margins are not just offered the minimum, but a full expression of support. Love should be enveloping. Love should be abundant and awe-inspiring. Love should hold us. And yet, too many in our community are living as Hagar, living on the margins of the family of faith, only to be pushed out into the wilderness by one person's fear. In Muslim tradition, Hagar has the esteemed position as the mother of Ishmael, and therefore the ancestor of the Arab followers of Muhammad, fulfilling this compassion God, that also makes a great nation of this throwaway son. There is a tension that has been baked into these stories as Christians and Jews align themselves with one side and Muslims on the other. But the truth is that both are companions in this painful, traumatic life of family. And if they could see their own pain and fear intertwined with each other, God may have covenanted to remain at their side. But in that covenant, never was there an expectation of ease of life or a life without strife. But too often, these mothers are pit against each other, and so the traditions grown from this relationship too. One of the functions of this story of Sarah's suspicion and Hagar's rejection is to shine a light clearly on how many of us struggle with living authentically and vulnerably open in community, of those who have known harm at the hands of others and offer us words to invite God into that space of injury. As one commenter has said, the rift that lingers between Sarah and Hagar continues to speak powerfully to unhealed wounds of all kinds. To seek the truth in this story, we have to listen for those who are marginalized on purpose, told they are less than, on a local interpersonal level, side by side with the interpretations on that global political scale. Because in all ways, this story reminds us how common, how easy it is to scapegoat others, another group or class or identity of people, only in an effort to exert control over the uncontrollable and to claim the power. Using independent research, translegislation.com notes that in 2023, the year that we are currently in, 82 anti-trans bills have been passed out of the 558 proposed across the country. Of those, 79 have been signed into law and 3 others passed but not yet vetoed or signed. This number obviously will change as legislative sessions continue. To put that into perspective, in 2022, 26 bills were passed out of 174 proposed. This is a scary moment for many in the LGBTQIA+ community, even as we try to celebrate, to find the pride in claiming and supporting identities of who we are. To be in that moment also looking at a national environment that is a wasteland, not just a wilderness of hatred and fear-mongering. The scapegoating and the goading toward violence is real. Just as Sarah incited Abraham's action of separation, trans people, and most especially trans children, are being used as a wedge, and it is not okay. And it's important to note that 3 of these bills introduced are in Pennsylvania, so we are not immune to this. This is not just an out there, over there, remember that when kind of thing. This is now. This is here. For trans kids cast under the bushes in the wilderness with their parents waiting off to the side, we have to do better than sitting and waiting with Hagar. For parents and trans adults, we have to do better than Abraham giving a bit of bread and water and a walk out the door. We have to be willing to offer the abundance, the invitation to celebration that we are called to by God, that we have covenanted to the world to offer. God calls to Hagar and says, "Come and lift up the boy and hold him." This is the way forward for us now, too. For all those marginalized and left out, made into scapegoats by powerful or fearful individuals and communities, come and lift up the people. Lift up the possibility of gender identities that transcend the cisgender experience. Lift up the girl born with typically male characteristics or chromosomes or physical features. Lift up the boy who went 20 years before realizing that inside that was really a girl there. Lift up all of our friends who find a way through not being a girl or a boy, but knowing that there is a spectrum and that there is life in the middle. And when we have lifted the concerns of the community, then we are told to hold. Not to let go and move on to the next wedge between you and me, but to lift and hold, and God will. This is the promise offered here to this mother at the end of her ability to survive. Lift and hold your child through the uncertainty so that you can see him grow. You can see a future built on their shoulders. You can see the bridges that will be made and the path carved amidst the shifting sands. So lift and hold, friends, so that God will be among us as we make a space for tears, for anger, for success, for what comes after the promises, what comes after the belly has been filled with suddenly found water and death is no longer at the door. Lift and hold each other, those we have yet to meet, and those who sit next to us in their honest and true identities, all facets on display. Recognizing that there are those who have known the pain of discrimination in the church and society, we invite everyone to experience God's love. We celebrate and embrace. We proclaim inclusion because we love as we have been loved, and we love better than we have been loved. Amen.
This has been the weekly worship from the United Church of Christ of Hummelstown. No matter who you are, or where you are, on life's journey, you are welcome here. Join us online or in person, at 104 East Main Street in Hummelstown, Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Thank you for listening today. We look forward to your fellowship.